Well, hello and welcome to the Plant Power Fall Hour of the Plant Power Dad Hour of the second season of the Plant Power Dad Hour. I'm your co-host, Plant-Based Gabriel, alongside Lean Green Dad, Corey Warren, and we're so glad to have you here. Corey, how have you been?
I'm good, man. We always start off by talking about what we ate, and I got to tell you, I had an acai bowl today.
Mm.
Okay. Now, my daughter is just very proud of herself because she figured out the perfect consistency to finally make this essentially fruit bowl. I mean, we threw a bunch of like frozen strawberries. She calls it an acai bowl, but there's actually no actual acai in it,
Is
which
it
is
blue at
really
all?
funny. Huh?
Is it at all blue?
No, it's pink
Oh,
because she uses dragon fruit,
okay.
but it's from what I understand, you might correct me here, is pitaya,
Pitaya,
that
yeah.
is that like dragon fruit before it's the white dragon fruit? Is that correct?
No, it's the same thing.
Okay,
There's
same
there's
thing.
a yellow dragon fruit with a white flesh. There's red dragon fruit with purple flesh. Yeah, and there's red
Holy cow.
dragon with pink. Yeah, there's
They're
different ones.
fun to eat though. I like those. But anyways,
Yeah.
so it's bright pink.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like going to these stores and, paying $10 for these things. And I was like, you need to learn how to make this at home, darling. Because I'm not paying $10 for a smoothie bowl.
Yep.
So, it's like frozen banana, frozen blueberries. I think there's pineapple in it, and then the dragon fruit. And then she put like, organic granola on top, some unsweetened shredded coconut, and then gosh, I think maybe a dab of maple syrup or something like that. And it's pretty good. So that's
She's
that's what I had today. How about you? What did you devour this morning?
nothing as exotic as that. It sounds like you're gonna have to be opening up your own fruit bowl stand or acai stand.
I don't
But
know. I thought about it. I thought about it.
your Florida summers, you'd be a killer operation there for
They
sure.
melt. They melt like that. It's crazy.
I just gotta sell people to them sometimes. What did I have today? Well, this actually is funny because I had received some questions this week on my channels of saying, Gabriel, I'm trying to go whole food plant based. I'm trying to go vegan. I'm trying to be a lean green person, but I have trouble finding things that I like. I see that you grow all these different things and you cook all these different things, but there's so many things that I don't like. And my response was, luckily, there are so many things that you don't like that there are going to be things that you will inevitably like. And for example, a lot of people get into a plant-based diet, a vegan diet, a whole food plant-based diet, call it whatever you want, a simple starchy staple-based diet. And they get into it and they think, well, I got to have this, I got to have that. Ladies and gentlemen, what did I have for lunch today is what Corey asked. Well, we had rice and beans with some salsa and a little bit of hot sauce. And Corey, what did I have for lunch yesterday? Corey, I had some rice and beans and a little bit of salsa and some hot sauce. And Corey, what did I have for lunch on Wednesday and Tuesday and Monday and Sunday? More than likely, there was probably some rice and beans and some salsa and some hot sauce. This time of year, that's just what we have for lunch. And so I buy 25-pound bags of black beans. I buy 25-pound bags of rice. That's about most of the shopping I do. Do you have to do that? No, you certainly don't. But if you like quinoa, if you like amaranth, if you like farro, the great thing is that there are thousands of different options to build a whole food plant-based diet around. And the other great thing is you can choose 3 or 4 of those
Yeah.
thousand and be fine, like many have shown, for the next 50 years.
Yeah.
Oatmeal for breakfast, rice and beans for lunch, sweet potatoes, or you don't have to get overcomplicated. So Corey, I had a very uncomplicated rice and beans with some salsa and hot sauce for lunch, as did my beautiful wife, Dr. Miller, and baby Bridget will be having that probably tonight or sometime in the morning, secondhand.
I love it. We do that as well. I mean, my favorite kind of versatile thing is chickpeas. I feel like there's chickpeas in everything I make, whether it's like a dessert, if I'm making like a chickpea, raw cookie dough, believe it or not, just a couple little things, makes a nice cookie dough. Or it's, roasting them with some cinnamon. I did like a fresh Buddha bowl, on the Lean Green Meal Plan today. And it had some, fresh strawberries. You make your own, tahini style dressing and stuff like that. And it was roasted chickpeas. We roasted them with just a little bit of cinnamon. So it goes well with the strawberry and the kind of sweet taste.
It actually goes well with today's episode, Corey.
It does.
We're talking about the plant or the fall. What did we say it was? Because I think I messed it up in the intro.
Plant Power Fall Hour or
the
something.
Plant Power Fall Hour. We're getting into the time, ladies and gentlemen, where, Corey and I were talking, we kind of go through the topic of our video and what, questions that we've received from you all who, if you're tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. And also let us know where you're tuning in from. Me and Bridget like to go through and look at the comments. And I know Corey likes to go through and see where everybody's tuning in from. So we love to see that. And we also like to get questions for future episodes. But one thing that I note as being in the plant-based or the vegan community for a while, and something that we discussed was this time of year is a really tricky time of year. And it's tricky for a lot of reasons. It's not tricky because I gotta go, have dinner with my aunt and uncles. That's whatever. And maybe we'll talk about that, family dynamics. But what really we find is this time of year is one of the, we get into the holidays, we get into fall, we get to the holidays, and then winter kind of slows down. People kind of recenter themselves.
Yeah.
But we see a lot of people jumping off. If they're eating healthy whole food plant-based throughout the year, maybe you're eating whole food plant-based. I know when I was kind of getting started, the holidays were tricky. You've lost 30 pounds in the year. It's really easy to get off that whole food plant-based train and then maybe just say, you know what, I'm just going to go vegan for the holidays and start having oil and start having processed foods. And I know we all have different paths and we all make different choices, but you could have spent, the last 9 months losing 30 pounds healthfully, steadily, and then decide to come in and spend your holidays eating the vegan goodies and gain 35 pounds over the next 3 months.
Yep.
And that's not an isolated scenario. And if you've done this for any sort of time and the holidays can be tricky. And then also there's the side of things of those who say, you know what, you're kind of getting into the vegan diet, vegan lifestyle. And, you might just have that aunt who spent 28 hours making her favorite casserole dish, and she's going to, explode and pass away if you don't have a little nibble of this. And you got to have it or else your auntie's just going to, so there's a lot of worries that we all have getting into fall. And so, Corey, what, you've been doing this for a while. Do you have any things, when the fall comes, any tips that our audience can have and maybe any problems that you've come up against?
Yeah, I don't know so much about tips as I do, man, I'm telling you, pumpkin is everything to me. I just absolutely love pumpkin, whether it's carving a pumpkin or eating some pumpkin, or the pumpkin seeds, you name it, I go all in on the pumpkin.
Yeah.
I even have a whole food plant-based, pumpkin pie that I make that just makes me so happy. So when it rolls around to the holidays, and fall, as we're kind of going in, we've got a lot to be not only thankful for, but a lot to be looking forward to when it's time. When I think about Thanksgiving, I think of stuffing and mashed potatoes and corn and all the great stuff that comes along with that. And I also get a little sad because the family dynamic is challenging sometimes, especially around a holiday like Thanksgiving, because we don't have turkey in our house. We won't have it in our house, and that's a tough decision. We have Thanksgiving somewhere else, right? This year we probably won't, just because of the state of the world and stuff like that. We're just probably not going to get together. But Thanksgiving is always bittersweet because it's nice to spend time with family, but it's always hard because the questions, someone's
going to get offended, or someone's going to think that you're trying to exclude them on purpose from not having. We've actually come up against this where people, we're not going to serve this. We're not going to serve one of the 4 dead brown things that we used to build our diet around, right? Beef, fish, chicken, or lamb, or there's.
Sure.
We're not going to have that there, and so then some people think, well, you don't want me to come because you're not going to serve that one dead brown thing. And it's like, no, we'd love for you to come. We're just not going to serve that. And they think, well, I can't come because you're not going to serve that. It's like, well, then and it's not as easy as that, right? But it's like, well, then you are making the decision not to come, and we're going to have a feast of other healthy options. And for that one thing not to be on the table because it goes against our, morals or beliefs. It does bring in some interesting family dynamics, and there's no hiding that for sure.
Whole episode on this, and one last thing, and then we'll keep going in. Okay, maybe give you some tips. The original question you asked me, but the thing is like after you eat all that stuff, you feel it. It hurts. You pass out in a food coma, whatever you want to call it. What if you could eat as much as you want and still feel light as a feather? Like, what if you didn't have to deal with your belly, like, you know, feeling so bloated and just overwhelmed? That feeling doesn't have to come with Thanksgiving, you know? And I think some of the foods that we're talking about here are a big deal. So let's talk about that, right?
And Corey, and one thing I'd like to, you know, we've kind of covered this in previous episodes, and I'm not here to ruffle feathers, but you know, it's a sad time when before, you know, when you're growing up or you're unaware of what diet related, you know, diseases are out there and can cause. You know, you're surrounded by family and you see, oh, uncle's over there. He's got a, you know, he had to loosen his belt 12 notches and he's passed out, not even able to watch the third football game or this is all happening. And then you start to realize, oh, well, it's the food. Oh, well, he just had a heart attack last year. Oh, well, wasn't he talking about being put on that new type 2 diabetes medication? Oh. And so this all happens. And then you start to realize, oh, well, the largest amount of heart attacks happen around the holidays. Oh, you know, we see, you know, the largest amount of weight gain happens around. And so it does open your eyes, and it is a bit of a sad time, but it also brings in a lot of opportunity. Maybe you can't curate a completely healthy, whole food, plant-based get together, but you could maybe introduce, you know, if you're going to a family member's house, you're clearly going to eat, you know, healthy, whole, you know, whatever you're going to choose to eat there. You're probably gonna have to bring it yourself, but you get to introduce others to that there. So it is also an opportunity. It can be frustrating, but it can also be an opportunity, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, I guess, you know, you asked me about tips, right? And my tips don't have to do so much with the actual food itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they have to do a lot with like the way to handle some of those things that we talked about with those family dynamics. And, you know, for us, as we get into fall, we surround ourselves with like-minded people. Okay. And it's unfortunate that some of those people might not be our direct family. But if we were to get together, and again, just state of the world is kind of strange right now, but for a long time, I'd say like for a decade now, we've had Friendsgiving. And Friendsgiving is a very popular term that everybody uses, right? So it's not like we thought of the term.
Wow, Corey, I hope you copyrighted that.
Hey, copywritten. But you know, these friends are all vegan, all plant-based. They're maybe not 100% whole food plant-based, so they'll have the tofurkey there or something like that, right? And that's fine. If I personally can't, I cannot stand tofurkey.
Well, there went that sponsorship. Dang it.
I can't stand it. It's all right. Moving on. But I just think that it's so nice to go to a place where you don't have to worry about any of that, and it's supportive and it's welcoming. And the biggest thing is my kids. My kids can go and not ask, Daddy, is this vegan? Mm-hmm. Right? That's the biggest thing that stirs the pot. When my kids ask it and people judge me because my kids are vegan and, oh, I'm depriving them, you know, of certain things.
Yeah.
It's just rough, right? And our own family, this is our own family feeling this way. So we have to be careful. But the biggest thing for me is focusing on the positive, okay?
Sure.
And focus on the great people that you have in your life. Focus on the love that you have for that family member, regardless of their food choices, and just choose to focus on the positive. Don't focus on how you can't believe they're this and that, and how dare they do this. And if they choose not to show up or they choose not to come, like it's just their thing. Mm-hmm. And this is more of a Zen thing. This is more of a your inner peace type of thing. It's so easy. I tell my son this all the time. It's easy to be angry. It's easy to be mad, right? It's harder to stay at peace, stay calm, and really just keep a positive attitude about things and really just have a little bit of empathy, you know, for some people. So,
and if you didn't know that, that's the intro to Corey's new children's book. It's easy to be mad.
No,
coming out fall 2022.
No books, no books. But that's what I would do, man. Maybe you can hit them up with more of the actual physical food recommendations and tips as it comes to the holidays. But my guess is it would focus around those simple starchy staples.
Hey, Corey, are you talking about those foods that people in populations have eaten for thousands of years without being plagued by the chronic diseases that are running rampant in our modern world, like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and obesity?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow. What a coincidence. All right. So So really and this kind of jumps into a couple of the points that we were hoping to hit today was one, how to curate that healthy vegan, healthy whole food, plant-based, that health promoting holiday season, that fall where you don't start going to $5 and not only breaking the bank, but also breaking the belt on those sugary sweet drinks,
Yeah.
which can happen very easily. You just kind of osmosisly, everybody else is doing it. And you don't, so how can you stop doing that? And also all the fancy grocery stores start coming out with their, let's say, maple flavored snacks and goodies. And it'd be great if they just put some maple syrup in it, but it's not. That's just not the case. And so you can kind of fall into that side of things and say, all right, well, we don't want to do that. But also, how do we figure out to say, well, I still want to celebrate fall. I don't want to just say, all right, well, I'm eating healthy, whole food, plant-based. Here's my pumpkin for the year, and open up a can of pumpkin and think, wow, I wonder why that doesn't taste the same, right?
Yeah.
And that can be a problem. And then also using this to transition to creating your own healthy, whole food, plant-based, your own healthy vegan traditions that you can not only celebrate as a nuclear family, but also branch out into that extended family, those Friendsgivings that you kind of mentioned there. And so the first thing is, if you think about it and you kind of are willing to put in a little bit of work, there's really not many recipes that you can't find a way to make healthy, whole food, plant-based. And we've covered this in the past. There's really nothing that you couldn't make vegan, right? And you've talked about that. There's nothing you couldn't make vegan, but it does take a little bit more work. And you've done a lot of work on your recipes, and I've done on mine, especially around holiday time. Is making it a healthy, whole food, plant-based, and really it kind of revolves around making it oil-free is the big conundrum that a lot of times that we run into. But if you find those recipes, here's just a few things that may be helpful. Number one, may not be the most, you're not going to do this to help lose weight, but you're not going to, again, break the belt on these type of recipes. Is if you're following recipes and there's just uber amounts of sugar and, brown sugar and this or that. Well, most of the time we're talking about desserts, especially, utilize some maple syrup, utilize some date syrup, utilize date paste. There's a lot of great options there, right? And it's not like you're going to want to build your diet around it. Although some people around the holidays really get that sweet tooth going, and they may try to build their diet around those. So you definitely want to make it as whole food, plant-based as possible. When we're talking about without oil, especially, there's a lot of Brussels sprouts and sauteed vegetables and roasted vegetables. That's a traditional kind of American staple. And I know our friends over across the pond, the roasted veg is a big staple. It could be parsnips or carrots or beets or turnips. And so, instead of smothering things with oil, instead of doing all this or that, number one, find a great nonstick way to do it. So parchment paper is our preferred way to go about it. You could use something like a silicon baking sheet. And then also you can utilize other things to roast veggies. Could be, if you wanted it a little sweeter, maple syrup. You could use some rice wine vinegar. You could utilize some apple cider vinegar. You could use balsamic vinegar. There's a lot of different options there. And then the other thing would be, and we're talking about kind of finding ways to make those healthy, whole food, plant-based, or a healthy vegan, is getting creative with it, right? If you really enjoy something that's pumpkin flavored, or maybe not getting creative in it, but just understanding what you're actually enjoying about it. When we talk about something like a pumpkin pie, or we talk about how Corey is a pumpkin fanatic this time of year, if I were to, I've got a storage area full of pumpkins we grew here that we're roasting now, that we're going to continue roasting throughout the fall. If I roasted that, and some pumpkins, if I roasted it right and, real nice and high heat, real good humidity there, really sweetens it up, almost tastes like a sweet potato if it's cured right. So that's something. But if I just took just a pumpkin and roasted it, took the flesh out, mixed it up, and said, "Here you go, Corey, here's that pumpkin you wanted," it would taste bland. It would kind of taste kind of vegetative, and it just would not be that. It wouldn't have any flavor to it. Wouldn't be your favorite, because what you're tasting when a lot of pumpkin dessert wise, you're talking cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, sugar. You're tasting a lot of these things, and so you have to kind of understand why you're enjoying these recipes, and then you can utilize different whole food, plant-based recipes or different ways to do it, and that can be helpful. And if you really want to put in the work to it, and you should, because the holidays again are the easiest time to get off the wagon, are the easiest time to lose control of your health. After
Yeah.
you've spent the whole year regaining your health, it's the easiest time to lose control of your health. So putting that extra work in is certainly worth your while. And I know it's been worth my while and worth our family's while, because on the other side of things, we have seen family members, maybe they're not even eating plant-based or vegan, but especially those who do, and then they kind of go off the wagon and just, you know, have this or that. And then, you know, you see, here's the thing, you see them at the end of summer, you're like, wow, Aunt Matilda, you've really regained your health, haven't you? At the end of summer, you're like, wow, you've got off your type 2 diabetes medication, this, that. And then Thanksgiving rolls around, you start coming into Christmas, and you're like, who is that? And unfortunately, it's not who is that person that is completely regaining their health. It's who's that person that has went backwards, took 4 or 5 steps forward all year, and then they took 600 steps back because they indulged in all of the traditional fare. And it's not to say don't have fun, don't enjoy the things you're doing, but find ways to do it with the understanding that nothing tastes as good as healthy feels, one, and that when you do decide to cheat on whether a whole food plant-based diet or a vegan diet, the only person that you are cheating is the person or the individual that's looking back at you at the mirror. Yeah, maybe it could affect your children or your grandchildren or your loved ones, but when it comes down to it, when the rubber meets the road, the only person that when the holidays roll around, when fall comes into play, the only person that really has to deal with these choices that you make is you.
Yeah. I want to talk about 2 things. One, first of all, thanks for those suggestions on food. I think everybody is always looking for those. And I think it's just, you have such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to like actual farm fresh food that you grow in your backyard. Like, it's incredible, man. So I just want to mention 2 things going back to.
It's not my backyard, Corey. I should just say that it's my side yard. You know, the way my property is actually set up, my backyard doesn't produce much food for me. It's more of my side yard, but you know.
You're hilarious. All right. I'm going to go back to the mentality type of thing for a second here. Okay. So when you're in the store and you're shopping, think about what's on those end caps. Okay. The end caps are the very end of the grocery store, and 25% of all grocery purchases are impulse buys. All right. And when you are looking at the end caps, chances are that's where you're going to have not only the brands that have the most money that are going to pay to have their prime real estate there, but those are going to be probably the worst choices that you can eat, right? So just be aware of that, guys. And I'm going to give you another a real life situation I had with my daughter yesterday, because she's 12. You know, she's on TikTok. She's on my wife's account, just kind of looking through a couple different things, kid videos, recipe videos, stuff like that. That's how she found the bowl I mentioned before, believe it or not. So she likes to try to, you know, veganize it, I guess, for lack of a better word. So we were looking for the coconut for those acai bowls, and we found one. It was the store brand. And so she grabbed it and she was like, all right, let's go. And I think it was like $1.30 for like a bag of this coconut. So it was white, it was shredded, and it appeared to be coconut. But I knew because of the price that there's no way it had anything good in it. So I flipped it over and I used it as a learning opportunity to show her some of the ingredients. And there was multiple things I couldn't pronounce, okay? But then all preservatives, guys, all preservatives. The shelf life is probably 5 years on this coconut. And then additionally, I think there was some oil in there, you know, some added salt and a couple other weird things. And then I wish I could go grab the bag, right? I have the unsweetened raw coconut, and the ingredient, I say ingredient, was coconut.
Yeah.
And so it was raw, organic, shredded coconut. And so as you go through the store and as you think about these things, and as that 25% impulse buy is coming into play, know that you have a choice. You have a choice what you put at the end of your fork, and you have a choice what you choose to buy. These are things that are very, very important. And if you have kids, use it as an opportunity to teach them. Use it as an opportunity to educate yourself. Just look at the ingredients at a base level. We're not talking about micros and macros and counting your calories and carbs and that. Gabriel and I don't do that because we found our way to a whole food plant-based diet. Now, that's not saying it's bad to count calories, guys. If you want to lose weight or you have a very specific goal, I think Gabriel would agree. Hey, count your calorie intake. Find
the foods that are lower in calorie density, I think, is also important too. You know,
That's what it's all about. Yeah,
we could dive into that. But Corey, just one thing, you know, and I found this great book. It's called The Plant-Based Diet for Beginners, and actually in the book there's a section called Ingredient List versus Nutrition Label, and I think especially when we get into the holiday season or the fall season, right? We're talking about the Plant Power Fall Hour. Is do not be fooled by those end caps. Do not be fooled by that nutrition label that says 0 fat, 0 calories. And then you look at the ingredient list and it's 100% fat. It's all oil. It's all sugar. It's all this or that. So they're able to maneuver, kind of finagle things here and there on those. And you've just got to be understanding of that. And then one other note that was on the same page that you kind of hit on that I just want to reinforce right there is, I hope the author is okay with me showing this.
Oh my
God.
But
it's there. It's shopping tips. Take inventory, make a list, don't shop on an empty stomach. And the fall season, the holidays, it is like wolves looking at sheep, or a hawk looking at a rabbit in my garden. When you walk into that grocery store, these billion-dollar companies have set up those end caps. They've set up these highly palatable foods that are holiday fall themed, and you've got to kind of go in with, you know what, this is what I need, and this is what I have, and this is what I'm going to get, and make sure you're not going in there hungry. And if you can do that, of course, you might find something you love. A few years ago, we fell in love with chestnuts. We love roasting chestnuts around the holiday season, all through fall. When we go to the grocery store, whether we have some or it's on our list or we're on an empty stomach, we're going to go get some chestnuts if we see them because we love them. But it's a good option there. And you can't really go wrong with them most of the time, other than we got a package last year that wasn't the greatest. It kind of was spoiled a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. That just is, if you grow those chestnuts, how dare you? But there's a lot of great options there, Corey. And I think you really drove it home there, because it's not only understanding it's like you did with your daughter at the grocery store. It's making it real life. It's to say, you can know what you want and go in there and do all this, that, but it's pretty easy to be deceived, unfortunately, in the grocery store or throughout the fall or through the holidays. And so another point there is, if you're a vegan for ethics, if you're eating whole food, plant-based for health, you might have a grandma who might be somewhat forgetful. And if you know something's in that, and that person is continually telling you it's not, but you know it's in there, stick to your guns and understand that you know what's in there. So just be careful with that. I know when the fall season comes around, there can be some little lies that get thrown into recipes.
Little tiny ones. Well, listen, folks, I hope that you took away a little bit of knowledge from this thing. I am going to slowly bring the show to a close, because guess what I'm doing tonight, Gabriel?
Are you going grocery shopping?
I'm going grocery shopping.
You're going to the pumpkin patch?
No, I'm making veggie pizzas tonight.
Ooh.
We are having 2 friends over. We're going to be socially distant. But the NBA Finals, the Western Conference Finals start tonight, and I'm a big basketball fan. So at the time we recorded this is game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, and LeBron James is taking the stage to play the Denver Nuggets. So I'm very excited. We're going to do that. And then our friends, they have puppies, and they're going to bring the puppies over. And my kids, we will never have a dog. We tried it. It didn't work for us.
Well, I've got 2. If you want, we can do splitsies, but you just let me know.
Well, we're excited. We're excited about that. So I'm going to go shopping with my daughter. I promised her I would go and do that. But, there's 2 things that we want you to know about, two resources that Gabriel and I both have. Of course, he mentioned his book, The Plant-Based Diet for Beginners. We've got that. Go check it out anywhere you find books. And then I run the Lean Green Meal Plan, which you can check out over at leangreenmealplan.com. It's, just 5 simple, easy, plant-based dinners that are sent to you every single week. And it's $7, $7 a month. So the price is right. You can get started for free over at Lean Green Meal Plan.
That's one pumpkin latte, Corey.
Oh,
it's amazing.
I guess, yeah. Or it's even less than a fancy acai bowl.
Not if you make it yourself without acai.
That's true. That's true. No, yeah. Well, no, I was talking about the store-bought one.
Yeah.
Hey, change that up.
You're raising good, thrifty children. That's the way to go.
Trying. They have savings accounts already, so they know money. They know.
Yep. Well, we've really indulged Bridget with the toys. She has a stainless steel spoon and a coconut bowl, and we'll see. Maybe we'll get her another spoon when she's older. But right now, I think she's pretty content with the toys that we've provided her. So.
How old is she now? 18 months?
8 months.
Oh no, wait, 8 months. Oh man, can't believe it. She's a big girl though. She's a big girl. She's awesome, man.
She's already managing the farm and bossing me around. So
at least from 9 to 3 every day.
Yep. Well, everyone, we've had a great time on here. We do love coming on here. Corey and I, we kind of go out of our way. We've got really set this into our schedule to do this. And we do it because we want to help you. And we do it because this is information that both of us wish we would have had as plant power dads, getting started, whether you're a dad, a mom, a grandma, it doesn't really matter. These are tips that are going to be beneficial to you getting started, continuing your plant power journey. And we really hope that you find it helpful. If you do have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comment section below, wherever you're tuning in. Also, hit the like button, hit the share button. And as always, you can find us here at the Plant Power Dad Hour next week. And really, if you have any questions, let us know. We'd love to answer them.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.